So thank you so much for allowing us to come to your salon. We're in New York City today. We're super excited.
It's fun, yeah?
Yeah, so one of the ways that I always like to start off a coffee talk is, how do you take your coffee?
In my mouth.
In your mouth.
I drink it. This is my latte. I have a coffee bar right behind you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Never cheered my coffee before, but cheers.
We're going to do it today.
Cheers, yeah.
So just
Ricardo makes my beautiful coffee for me every morning. So he runs my cafeteria here, Il Tramezzini, and it's a latte with a little bit of sugar and lots of love.
Oh,
and
I
he
love the
mixes
last
it
part.
perfectly, and it's
oh, look at that! It's a little fancy.
very nice. This is how I like it. 2 a day, and I'm done.
2 a day.
One when I wake up, and one when I get to work.
Okay. One of the things that I know that you do, and a lot of the partners that you have been with and that you have worked with, things like Bumble and Bumble and Willow, all of these different product lines, that's really fueling the industry right now. How do you kind of incorporate that and shift that into education? Because I know that you have a cosmetology school.
Yep.
And I know it's right behind the walls that nobody
I have
can
two.
see.
Two schools.
See, so
2 schools in Manhattan.
Come on, like busy. So how are you incorporating all of those things into the educational aspect of your two businesses?
Well, I think that education. I built this company on the premise that education would be the spine or the backbone of the brand. So we say we have an education culture, and that means that everybody in my salon has to get educated and also has to be involved in education. So when I started Arrojo, I always felt that a hairdresser that was a teacher and that was made to be a teacher or encouraged to be a teacher, I always felt like those hairdressers would potentially be better stylists because they'd be forced to practice what they preach.
I like that.
And that's what's helped me build my company. And then what I realized was once I kind of started the salon and that started to go well, I actually started my salon in a cosmetology school. It was inside of Veda. I rented a couple of chairs inside of Veda when it was on Spring Street. And so my salon really just began in an education center. And then after about 6 years of being in business as a salon, I got the chance to actually start my own cosmetology school. So that was kind of like a full circle to get kind of influence the industry. Education today, somebody's ripped the lid off it, yeah? It's everywhere. Yeah?
Yep.
All you need to do is pick up your phone, or I don't think you call it a phone anymore, it's called
the telly.
A supercomputer, yeah?
That's so right.
So, you do pick that up and everyone's doing education. So it's a very muddy field, which I think can only be a good thing.
Yeah.
When I started Arrojo, there was very little education. The original houses were like Sassoon, or like a Tony and Guy, or like a Paul Mitchell maybe. So I think in 2001 education, there was a big opening for it, and I think I managed to get a good headway with that. Now it's a different game, and you're constantly navigating, trying to kind of swerve in the industry. To try and create, the right business model for you.
So I know that in order for a stylist to be successful, you have something called a USP.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about what that is and why it's important?
Well, I think a USP is a unique selling perspective or a unique styling perspective. So I think that you have to really figure out what are your specialties. And then if you have your specialties, you can kind of target how you want to become. Even if you look today, because this thing here, the iPhone, as is, on Instagram, it's your mobile portfolio, yeah?
So true.
So you create your brand ID, you create your own personal brand ID through your own Instagram, yeah? So for me, I think if you're a hairstylist, and it's something that we're really embracing, we've seen it happen. So you see things like the Anko Tran look, for example, which you know what it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could go from the top to the bottom, and it's got a very similar thread right the way through it. I think someone like a Guy Tang too, and so many of those people, even like a Larissa Love, the people that you know or you see or you hear about who are kind of engaging through social media. I think you got to think about how do you kind of get your message across in such a muddy place, in such a kind of confused way. So I think for me, I tell stylists, especially young ones, find out 1 or 2 or 3 specialties that you really can focus on, and then make that kind of your point of difference. When I started haircutting, I was a Sassoon-based, I worked for Vidal Sassoon, so it was all scissors. When I left Vidal Sassoon, I was kind of thinking, well, if I've left this company and I've left this culture, what can I do to develop myself further and not just be locked in what I was taught? And therefore, what I did was I kind of pioneered, razor cutting, because my definition of a great hairdresser was someone that could have the technical skill, but also have the flair and the flow. So razor cutting was something very different. So I made that a piece of my unique selling perspective or my unique styling perspective. We're always looking to say, what's the next thing, or what can we do that we can pin our hat on, or we can pin on our hat so that we can carry something forward and create a little bit of unique noise in the marketplace. Of course, today it's even more complicated.
Yep.
Yeah, where everyone's so independent, everyone's got a voice.
Yep.
And a lot of them are validated by how many followers they have.
Now, is that important, you think, to be defined as successful?
To have a lot of followers? Well, I think that for a young hairdresser, absolutely. And of course, it's the new advertising, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Social media is the new advertising. Instagram's the new advertising. It's starting to get more and more boring, because when you read your feed, it's more and more advertisements.
Yep.
So it's changing the way in which we separate ourselves. And how many more independent events can there be? There still will be loads, but because there's so many, we're all competing. It's a bit like salons. There's a salon on every street, and there's a hair post on every other post on your Instagram.
That's very true. So. And one of the things that I've actually seen that's been trending with social media, and you had mentioned Instagram, they have a shopping on Instagram now. So one of the things that we always get a lot from clients, and I'm sure as someone who owns their own product line,
yep,
we've got the product.
We use it.
One, things are on Amazon.
Yep.
Two, now they're on social media, available for everybody to purchase. So how do you find yourself overcoming and kind of sharing with business owners out there? How can they overcome the craze of clients wanting to go to Amazon and not purchasing from the salon, or now in this case going to Instagram because I'm seeing every single post is a hair post? How do we kind of encourage the clients to purchase from the salon?
Well, I think you got to. The number one thing is, first off, you've got to know what Amazon, what Instagram, what people are doing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, instead of just talking about it and make it an excuse, you've got to find out what they're doing, and then you have to compete in knowing what they're doing. Compete in a way that can counterbalance what they're doing. So we all know that hairdressers typically are they're not motivated by selling. Yeah, we know that.
No, you're creative people.
We know that. Yeah.
Right?
There's nothing more creative than turning $1 into 10.
Yeah.
Trust me. So I'm into that. What we do is we find out how to compete with online, and then we focus on that in salon. So for example, if Amazon is going to offer a special offer, or if Instagram is going to offer something special, make sure you're offering it the same too. Obviously, social media and this device that is like a constant feed is enabling people to buy things online. But if you can kind of prove that you can't get it any cheaper, and if you can actually deliver the experience, I think you can win. I really do. I can tell you this, it's all about focus and not about excuse. Yeah, you can't change what the rest of the world's doing. The only thing you can do is change how you adapt to it. Typical salon owner, and I mean that in the nicest possible way, they're looking to get a discount. They don't give the discount necessarily to the client. You've got to think about how to retail in a different way. The good old days was you buy it for 10, sell it for 20. Well, today's not the good old days. Today's the new days. So you buy it for 10, you sell it for 8. And you try to maybe get clients to purchase more than just 1 or 2 products by giving them a deal. That's what we do every single week. We have promotions within our salon so that we can capture the consumer's interest. But if you want to retail, the best way to retail is just to look at the history of the client, and then when the client sits in the chair, be able to start communicating from day one, from the first minute, about all the things that you have on offer. It's not just about getting your hair done today. I mean, look at that rack there. That rack's filled with brushes and filled with combs. Yeah? I've got a client come into my salon. If I don't get her to buy one of these products here, I can get her to buy a brush. No problem. Yeah, it's so easy just by prescribing and sharing and caring. You sat down, you just said to me when you sat down, I get this crazy hair that sticks up.
Yes,
Yeah?
this one right here.
Now, right now, I could have gone over there, picked up a product, sprayed it, and said, that's the product that's going to help to stop that static from building that hair up. And then you'd be like, well, maybe Nick's just solved a problem. I've got to have it. And I'd be smart enough to say, see the little mini, the travel gold can? I'll give you the travel size. You can put it in your purse. So the next time you come to do this under that light, it's a humidity defense and it will keep your hair flat. So it's really, you got to learn the art of selling. And the art of selling is solving problems and offering solutions. So I don't like making excuses. What I like to do is try to come up with solutions to the challenges that we as hair salons face, we as salon owners face, and I try to help salon owners understand that.
So I know, we talked a little bit about the Amazon craze and all of that, and I know that we talked a little bit about how salons can still be successful in that market. And I know that you opened up your first salon in 2004, so you had 4 employees. I believe you had minimal products available from my understanding of the research that I did, but you did have 2 product lines, and I know that since then you've opened up the academy, you have the school. So what are the 3 elements that you would say really helped you grow your business into a multi-million powerhouse?
Well, sounds good. Multi-million pounds.
Multi-million powerhouse.
Well, with every multi-million powerhouse comes multi-million dollar rent. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Unfortunately. I started my business in 2001. I rented a couple of chairs inside the Aveda School. I eventually moved over here in 2003.
Okay.
So I launched here in 2003, and at the time I was working with another manufacturer. So for me, the whole concept was just, focus on the year, and when you get to the end of the year, focus on the next year. So every year I had a plan. What can I achieve? How can I overcome the challenges that happen every day? And, you kind of know your destination. I say, listen, I know my destination. But the question is there's loads of obstacles along the way, right? And there's obstacles that you didn't know.
Yep.
So did I know that, 10 years, 15 years ago, that everyone would be offering education and it wouldn't be validated by followers? No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But this is the new reality. So the new reality has to be, okay, what do you want? So what do I want? I want to have a successful salon, which means I got to get great stylists, which means I got to train great stylists, which means I got to offer training, which will attract people to come here so they can learn their skill. That's my salon piece. If I'm going to offer great training and I want my school to be successful, because I do want to give to the industry, and I do think that my success is giving to the industry from day one. So the trying to elevate the standard and the level of teaching, and I'll tell you why that's important, because I can take a hairdresser from my school and get them onto my floor super fast, taking clients. We live in a generation now, or in a world now, that they want it today. We say quicker, faster, smarter. That's what we want to do. We want to train them quicker, we want to train them faster, and we want to train them to be smarter. So we want to make sure that we're doing that. So with the cosmetology school, my goal is to make my brand equity of the school a real powerhouse. And it's easier when it's smaller, because as things get bigger, there's more things to manage.
Yep.
Yeah, and you're not so present. And then with my product, the key with the product is, obviously I want to make my products become a successful business model. I believe that hair products are something, professional hair products kind of still do exist. It's a professional based brand. Most successful products are born in the salon. Mm-hmm. To me, this is not a money play. Yeah, there's so many companies out there that because they have money, they can create something with no heritage or history, because at the end of the day, it's shampoo. But I'm trying to develop something from my heritage and from my history, and I want to see it have legs. So I tie it completely to education. So when a salon kind of connects with my product, they connect with my education culture, and then that's led me to believe that we're a culture-based company, and hairdressers who are moving now as the pendulum swings into more and more boutique independent hairdressers working on their own,
Yep.
I'm a firm believer that culture is an important piece, and we won't know where we're going to be in 5 years, but the only thing we know is where we are today. So for me, I always try to focus on what's my objective for the year, what are the challenges, where's my long-term destination, and how can I slowly move towards that.
What would you say are the areas that business owners today need to focus on in order to be successful? What are those key elements?
The biggest challenge that we have in our industry is we are underpriced and overcommissioned.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's the problem, and it's very hard for a salon owner. And we're in an industry that kind of self-competes. Yeah, we're also in an industry that, you know, we have no protection because the Instagram makes everybody visible. You know, starting hairdressing in the 80s, you could only give out your business card for the salon. When a hairdresser left, they had no idea where you went. Now it's completely different. The client doesn't fall in love with the salon, they fall in love with the stylist that the salon gives to them. So what happens is you could have a client, you could have a new stylist on the floor tomorrow, you book them a new client, the client falls in love with the hairdresser because they do a nice job, then the hairdresser leaves, and then the client doesn't come back to the salon because they've fallen in love with the hairdresser, which is never going to change. So and there's no protection. So if they want to go across the street and do it, it's very hard to protect your business. So for me, I think the key is try to make your brand. If you're opening a salon, make your brand the hook. Try and make your brand the bait. Yeah. So how do you do that? Well, you do that by maybe a rewards program. Fostering teamwork and not kind of like independent. So when I talk about teamwork, one of the key metrics that I look for in my business every week is return to salon client. We foster and encourage a client to come back to the salon to see a different hairdresser. There still is that age-old mentality, and there's plenty of them, but one of them I'm referencing particularly is, I don't want to cheat on my hairdresser. I'm cheating on my hairdresser. Well, we encourage a little cheating.
Oh,
yeah, because we encourage people to come back to the brand. We encourage our hairdressers not to live in fear. We foster an environment that says if you are successful based on your last week numbers, we'll completely support you. So we have a kind of a very transparent business model, and with our clients, we're always reaching out to them with incentives, offers, ideas. So trying to engage with the consumer so that we can build brand loyalty and not individual hairdresser loyalty. I do think that we definitely do encourage hairdressers to become successful. My job is not to give a hairdresser a client. My job is to develop that hairdresser's career. So it's a very different mentality. And it's like, do I want to feed you or do I want to teach you to feed yourself? I want to teach you to feed yourself. Therefore, when that time comes for you to maybe move on, then you'll be able to feed yourself. And also, while you're here, instead of always coming to me and saying, what can you do for me? I can give you the tools to say, what are you doing for yourself? So I think for a young, new salon owner, you've got to try to get that kind of mentality that it's all about building your brand and then about creating a great environment so you can attract the cast of characters to join. Yeah,
I like that.
So that's kind of my advice.
So one of the things that I really want to touch upon, and I know that you had mentioned it a little bit before, was culture.
Yep.
Right, and making or bringing or developing a culture within your business, and for you it was developing a culture inside of the cosmetology school as well. How can business owners kind of incorporate a culture and make that successful? Mm-hmm. What are those steps that they should be taking?
The most important person in a salon is the owner.
Amen.
They got to look after themselves. So if they feel completely grounded and inspired, then they have a chance. So I think the first thing is find out what's going to keep you motivated and inspired. I could not be where I am today if I did not have some mentors along the way. But you know, a mentor, somebody should be older because they've kind of been through the path. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you know, you talk about your mentors. So first step, Find a mentor, find somebody that you admire, respect, and make them your friend. It's as simple as that. And if they don't have the time for you, find somebody else. Yeah? So that I'll go to the place where you can kind of fill up your cup. Then once you kind of can constantly kind of feel like your cup's been filled up, then you can start on the arduous task of trying to develop culture within your salon. It's very difficult. It's a lot of work. It's very hard to navigate the discipline,
big word there.
which is what people kind of need. I really believe that everybody needs some discipline and structure, but then also that kind of openness and encouragement. People don't like discipline, but without discipline you have chaos. So I think you have to have discipline. You have to look and say, where's my business growing? Where's my business flailing? And that helps to navigate what you need to do in order to develop that culture. Mm-hmm. You can't live without somebody that you can talk to that will not, if you can find somebody that will give you non-biased opinion, that will push back when you're on the wrong track, and that you respect enough to be able to reevaluate how you're communicating, then I think that is kind of a big key to developing that. So, you know, when I looked at my that, I used to say, well, if Vidal Sassoon can become super successful, why can't I? If Horst Reckelbacher can create a product company as a stylist, why can't I? Did I have money when I came here? No. Did I see that as an obstacle in the beginning? Yes. Did I overcome that thought that it's an obstacle? I kind of have overcome it, because really it's like that Field of Dreams mentality. Build it and they will come. And I do believe that, you know, if you put all the right, I do believe that the universe is a little bit cosmic. And when it gets tough, you know, you got the tough get going, but sometimes you have to learn how to navigate around it and stay part of the course, and don't let anyone shatter your dreams. Just stay focused on your dream. To me, that's the most important thing.
Wonderful. So, talking a little bit about culture, I want to kind of dive into just a few more questions before we wrap up. I know that you launched your brand line that was Give Unconditionally.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me.
Oh, you're welcome. So how does that motto apply to salon?
You know more about me than I do.
Well, you know, you have to do your research for these things.
You did a good job there.
And I have to give a little shout out. It's not only me, it's the girl also in PR who's in love with you.
Good. Nice.
Yes, so
thank you.
You know,
Very
she
kind.
helped out.
That's
so
magic.
What does that motto, how is that motto? How did it apply to different salon owners, and how can it help them grow their business?
Well,
there's like
listen,
3 questions
yeah,
in there.
I know, that's okay. I can probably get to kind of all of them. The whole concept of give unconditionally was an idea that I had. We always want the immediate return. I'll do this, but I want that back. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you dial it down into a simple thing for a hairdresser. It's kind of like, well, I'll do your hair, but if you don't tip me, then I'm not going to do it as nice next time. I'll go the extra mile, but if you don't give me some return for my investment, aside from the cost, then there's a condition there, yeah? Mm-hmm. So to me, when I was building my business, I said to all my hairdressers, listen guys, don't think about a client as a one service, a one transaction. Think of a client as a long-term investment. So when you give unconditionally, and that means when you're walking down the street and you see someone's hair that you like and you're not busy. I've got hairdressers with lots of white space on the books today. So what that means, the white space, means there's an empty appointment slot.
Yep.
Yeah? So would it not be better to have somebody that you can't wait to do their hair because they've got great hair? So trying to go out and find the clients that you want and giving them services for free, yeah, because they're going to be your advocate. So now, as a salon owner, you know, I think that when you apply that to your team, well, it can be very difficult, trust me, yeah? You apply that to your team, you know, that can foster a great comeback for you. Yeah, you see, your business grows, and at the beginning of your business, you need people. If you're going to grow a salon, you're going to be you're going to be dependent on people believing in your vision, believing in your dream, being a part of you. You have to share your vision. Once you share your vision, once you encourage it, you have to kind of give unconditionally to your staff, and that's difficult. So I do believe that as I kind of look at what we're doing in our future and what's happening in our present and think about what the future is, I do believe that we've got to be better at understanding the world. In the good old days, they used to say, you can't talk sex, and you can't talk, no, religion, you always talk sex. What am I talking about? It's like, everyone wants to talk about, sorry. You can't talk religion, you can't talk politics, yeah? But if you take those two things off the table, what can you talk about? Sex, that's it, sex. Let's talk about sex, baby. Yes. So I digress, but I do think that it is important to be prepared for your successful journey, and know that once you start something, the key is if you want it to be successful, you got to keep growing it. You're either growing or you're not.
God, I love that. So one way I always like to end coffee talks, just so that it's digestible for everybody. If there were 3 things for the last person tuning in right now, or that person that scrolled all the way to the end, we don't like them.
Yeah?
No, I'm just messing with you.
3 things.
3 things that would be a takeaway for a business owner that they can say, okay, you know what? These are the steps or the actionable items that I'm going to take back after watching this, so that I can kind of introduce them into my business so that I can be successful.
Okay, so I better write them down. And there'll probably be, if you ask me tomorrow, probably be 3 different things, yeah? But number 1, who's in charge?
You.
Yeah, if you're the owner, you're in charge. Yeah, number 1. You got. I see sometimes the kids run the shop. No, the owner runs the shop. Yeah, that's it. It's your business. You have to make the decisions. Stay in charge. Number 2, I would say create a great training process in all aspects. Yeah, because if you have a learning environment, then I think that if you have a learning environment, then you're going to get better. 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 And number 3, learn to forgive.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, are you ready for the best part about this? Yourself.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why, because you make so many mistakes. Yeah, so if you're going to be in charge and you're going to make some decisions, you're going to make some mistakes, you've got to learn to forgive yourself so you can still stay in charge, because if you don't forgive yourself, you've got no chance of being able to make the right, clear decision. Yeah, so I think training, be responsible as be the leader, and then learn how to kind of forgive yourself so you can get the following day, because guess what, it's going to be there tomorrow and you're going to have to deal with it. So I suppose they're my 3 things. This learn to forgive yourself is something that has always been on my thing, because obviously throughout the 17, in fact throughout the 37 years of doing hair, I've got to be able to get up and say, you know what, maybe that wasn't right, but I've got to get over it because I've got to focus on today.
Yeah.
And then I think in reference to, if you're the leader, you've got to be in charge. Doesn't mean you have to be militant, yeah, but you have to be like, this is the direction that we're going to go.
This is your
in.
vision.
And everyone's got an opinion, yeah, everyone's got an opinion, yeah, but you've got to be able to say, hey, listen, at the end of the day, the opinion that matters the most is my decision, and I want you to support me, but I'm going to listen to you so that I can at least have as much of the facts, and I can have a clearer vision about what decision I'm going to make. Make sense?
Makes sense.
My coffee's cold now. In fact, it's actually empty. Yeah.
Guess what?
It's the end.
We're done. Perfect. So I want to go ahead and I want to thank everybody for tuning in today, and thank you so much for having us in your salon.
My pleasure. We'll see you next time.
Next time.
Yeah, you go.
Excited. See you guys later.
Thank you. Thanks a
Bye.
lot, guys.